the conversation that's been had, born out of Tom Brady's wife going on the CBS morning show and saying that Tom had a concussion last year and it wasn't diagnosed. You did. You were in the concussion protocol. Would you ever remove yourself from a game if you had something that seemed like it and nobody buzzed down, nobody noticed it, but you noticed it? Would you take yourself out, Carson?
I think so. I've been very fortunate. I've had one real one major one, and that was last off season, and I didn't know which way was up and which way was down, so there really was an opportunity for me to go back in the game. And our from Tom Reed to everybody on our sideline, they're so on top of it each game. I mean, I get sick of it during games. Sometimes, all of a sudden a guy will come up behind me and say, "Hey, you're right, you're right, you're right." I saw you get hit. And they're just doing their job, and you have to accept that. But our guys are so on top of it that I don't think I would have that opportunity to put myself back in the game because they do such a good job of noticing it and staying on top of it. But I've been fortunate, like I said, to not have very many instances where I would put myself back in or think about, am I okay? Do I have a concussion? The one I've had, it was the game was over. It was 9-9 for me. So. I can't really put myself in those shoes just because I feel like we're so on top of it and we're so protected and there's so many doctors now and so many neurologists and experts and all these people that stay on top of it and handle that for us.
Well, when you came off the campus at USC to now, how has it changed the conversation amongst players about concussions? Are there more conversations about it? Is there because the reason why I ask again is that this whole issue with Brady is being brought up is that players still would not report whether they have a concussion or not, and that there's a concern about it, and that even though there's more information, it still hasn't, if you will, figuratively sunk in. Carson.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's different for every player and every team maybe. I don't feel like in my tenure in the league, I don't feel like there's more discussion or less discussion about it within players, within the locker room. There's definitely tremendously more discussion outside doing interviews when it's when the media's in our locker room and as you said the different topics that have come up recently. But as far as players are concerned, you talk about it and it's part of the game and it's been part of the game for all of us for as long as we've worn a helmet and played football. But I don't think the discussions have picked up in any way. There's always going to be guys that they might have a fracture in a bone in their wrist, or they might have sprained an MCL. And obviously those aren't dealing with your head, but this game is played with injuries and pains and aches. And unfortunately, sometimes with concussions that guys may know about and may not know about. Sometimes you're just not sure. You're so focused on what's going on. But I just don't think, I don't feel like I hear more discussion within our locker room between actual players any more than I did 10, 15 years ago.
Well, how about you with your wife and your family as you're now more experienced, to use your phrase, in your career when you might be on a year-to-year plan? Are you talking about it more personally?
Oh, my wife talks about it all the time. She unfortunately witnessed, she was down in the locker room with me and I just was completely out of it. When I was going through all the protocol and meeting with the doctors after the game, I had it in. And it's just scary. I don't, as a player, and when it happens, you don't remember for the most part. You have no idea. I don't recall from 2:30 on that afternoon. But your family members and your wife and your kids experience it, and they're right there, and it's scary. It's especially for young kids that haven't seen something like that. It's scary, and it's something that our wives and our moms and our families and people around us on the outside, I'm sure, worry a lot more than we actually do as players.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on radio stations across the country and audience.
If you like that video, be sure to download our app, and I'll be sure to move Week 6 games to Saturday for that wedding you have to go to.